and welcome to Business Connections. I'm Holly Allen, Director of Marketing and Communications for the Dayton Area Chamber of Commerce, and this is a program put together by the Dayton Area Chamber of Commerce. And one of the more exciting things we get to do at the Chamber is recognize businesses for best practices in a whole myriad of different business-related topics. And one of those awards is called the Workplace Diversity Award. It is given in partnership with the National Conference for Community and Justice, or NCCJ, of Greater Dayton, with the Chamber. And today we're here to talk about that award and what is workplace diversity. Stephanie Precht from the Dayton Area Chamber of Commerce is with us today, along with representatives of our two winners. 2015 winners are PNC and Wright State University, and they received that award in late October. It was given at the NCCJ annual dinner. So congratulations to the two of you. From PNC, we have Michelle Kaye. And from Wright State University, Dr. Kimberly Barrett. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Thank you so much.
This is exciting news. I'll start with, let's start with Michelle here. What is your reaction to winning this award?
We were really pleased and excited about this. This was the first year that we've actually applied and the first year that we were selected. So for us, diversity, it was a way that we were a part of the community to show that we really, truly embrace diversity and inclusion within our workplace.
Exciting news, I'm sure, to receive that call.
Very much so.
Dr. Barrett, what's your reaction to Wright State winning the Workplace Diversity Award?
Well, it was the first time that we applied as well, and we were especially proud to be recognized by our community because, you know, lately we've received actually quite a bit of notoriety for our diversity and community engagement from some national and state organizations, and I think receiving something from your hometown
right.
and the community where you're known the best is, I think, especially telling because they know who you really are. And so we were especially pleased to receive it from both NCCJ and the Chamber of Commerce.
Well, Stephanie, you are kind of the liaison through the Chamber as part of choosing the winner of this award. Sure. Can you talk about what the judges are looking for in a winner and what this award is all about?
Absolutely. So we work really closely with Mary Tyler, the Executive Director of NCCJ, and she and I started talking earlier this year, really trying to reach out to some of our businesses and our organizations in the community that are walking the walk. I guess that's what I would say more than anything. A lot of companies have diversity and inclusion statements, and they write a policy and it sort of stays on their website or in print, and they don't necessarily implement the practices in their daily operations. And so when we meet as a committee, we're really looking for applicants that are able to demonstrate how they get their employees engaged in diversity and inclusion, how they've incorporated it into their recruitment, how they communicate that message to their customers and their client base. And so it's sort of this holistic approach to diversity. It's not just a tagline or a statement. It's daily practice. It's how do you implement it in everything that you do. And both of these winners this year and for the past several years that we've done that have really exemplified the ability to do that and walk the walk, as we say.
And we'll get into what each of these organizations have been doing that earned the award. And I want to get the judges' perspective, but I want to start with each of you first to say, Michelle, I'll start with you. Why do you think, and why does PNC believe it won the award?
Well, when we look at diversity, again, it's about being diverse of thought, diverse of opinion, not just the normal things you think about with diversity, with sexual orientation or color of skin, but it's about we need to be diverse because of what we bring to the table as a financial institution. We serve the whole community, and the community is not. It's not just one. It's everyone, and we need to make sure that we're serving that group. So we were, again, just really excited to be able to have the award.
Yeah, it's an exciting thing. And two winners this year. Dr. Barrett, from Wright State's perspective, what do you think stood out among the crowd of applicants this year from Wright State?
Well, I think although my position was created at the cabinet level to deal with issues of diversity and community engagement in 2012, but I think the university's commitment to diversity and inclusion stems back to its founding almost 50 years ago. And so I think this has been an integral part of the mission of the university and its vision to be known and respected for its inclusive culture. And so I think that the university really, even prior to my arriving, really walked the talk of diversity. And although certainly it's aspirational and there's a lot more work that needs to be done, it is integrated into what we do every day. Wright State University has a number of diversity initiatives. Our oldest cultural center, for example, is the Belinga Black Cultural Center, which started in the 70s, during a time in this country's history when many universities were evaluating the climate on campus, the curriculum, and trying to be more inclusive. We have the Women's Center, the Asian and Native American Center. We even have a Latino Affairs office on campus. Most recently, we started the LGBTQ Affairs Center on campus. Specifically, our vision says that we want to be known and admired for our inclusive culture that respects the diversity of faculty, staff, students, and alumni that we have as part of our community. And so it is really part of the fabric of the organization. We've begun a policy of, training in terms of our search committees, for example, so that people can be aware of implicit bias and take steps to avoid that and try to widen the opportunities for people to be part of that pool so that we have more diverse pools, and then we are better at making sure that those unconscious biases don't impact how we select people. Relatively speaking, we're an affordable institution, and we're an institution who meets students where they are. Being actively engaged, being an example, and being authentic in the extent to which you embrace diversity is something that leaders can do. I think you can't say enough about the power of the bully pulpit in terms of leadership and the role that they play in modeling diversity and inclusion and cultural competence. Organizations like NCCJ serve the foundation for what I hope to live in terms of a just society. They provide resources. I think they provide an example of how organizations and communities can work together across our differences to meet everyone's needs. Thank NCCJ and the Dayton Chamber of Commerce for recognizing the efforts that we've made, and our work is certainly aspirational, but it's great to be acknowledged along the way to achieving our vision.
Can you give any tangible examples of what maybe you're doing every day, things that you actually put into practice, that diversity is a top priority for your organizations?
I think that in a number of ways we do this. As we onboard new employees, new faculty and students, even parents, they have the opportunity to talk with me and my staff about our commitment to diversity and the ways in which we try to make sure that we meet all students where they are, no matter what their background is, and help them find a place where they feel like they belong on campus. Whether it's in one of our cultural centers or it's doing research as an undergraduate with a faculty member in their discipline, or getting involved in community service somehow. We try to make sure that everyone is able to find their niche and that they see themselves reflected in what the university is doing and what we're teaching and how we're teaching it. And so there are workshops not only on how do you minimize the impact of implicit bias, that bias that all of us have, given that we grew up in the United States. How do you overcome that in the search process so that we get the best and the brightest, no matter what their background is? And also for our faculty, how do you teach in a way that helps all of our students meet their unique potential, no matter where they're starting? And so we try to provide this type of professional development and opportunities for people to learn how to be culturally confident both on campus and after they leave. So those are some examples of what we do, and I'm sure some of the reasons why we were chosen for this award.
Michelle, do you have examples from PNC?
Absolutely, we do a lot of the same things from a customer and talent perspective, as Wright State, we look at the customers that we serve and make sure that when a customer comes into the bank, that they're reflected, back out. And this is you're working with a like group of people. We have ATMs that speak many different languages. Our website is put into many different languages, so we can speak with people to where they are. From a talent perspective, we try very hard to make sure that our employees are reflective of the communities that we serve. We want to make sure that not only at the teller level within the bank, but as far as senior leadership goes, we have regional diversity and inclusion councils as well as line of business. So we're all very aware of what we need to do to be able to conduct business within the communities that we live and work. It goes beyond that. We have Heritage and History Months. We have what we call employee business resource groups, which take into consideration, we've got a women's group, LGBT community group, military. So we make sure that we're serving not only externally within the customer base, but internally from the employee perspective.
Diversity and inclusion for us needs to be intentional in an area that we focus in on every day.
It seems like everyone talks about diversity. They also like to say it a lot, but the actionable plans and the investment in diversity I have seen for the first time. It's the diversity of opinions, diversity of your life circumstances, and that all comes into the actions that we see at PNC.
Our customers are diverse, so we have to respond to changes and needs in our customers, and with having a diverse workforce, it allows us to think and act and respond to our customers with that intentional thought around diversity and inclusion.
When a customer comes into PNC, they come from a different background possibly than the people that are working there. They have different views, different experiences. So when you come into a branch and you see people working there that are not all the same person, that they're not all a homogenized workforce, that they're very different, they each have a very different background and culture, you feel welcomed. You feel like I can be celebrated for my differences by being here and I don't have to worry.
You want to come into work knowing that you feel welcome, and you are at PNC, which is nice.
I feel respected when I come to work. There's an environment of that respect, mutual respect, and I think that helps engagement.
PNC was actually the first ever corporate sponsor for the LGBT Pride Parade and Festival for Dayton this year, and it was a really nice, proud moment because Dayton's not had a corporate sponsor for that event.
Committed to bringing women more into leadership, creating career paths for women, creating mentoring opportunities, creating those visibility of career paths.
PNC is ahead of a lot of the other financial institutions, mortgage companies, by showing that support in diversity.
It's important to do this. It is important for not just your employees, but also for your customers. It is important for the community as well.
And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank NCCJ and the board for recognizing the investment that PNC has made in our community and receiving the 2015 Workplace Diversity Award. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank our employees that have embraced diversity and inclusion and really have made PNC a winner in our market.
It sounds like, and Stephanie, I'm sure the judges took a look at this, it sounds like all these examples of trying to integrate in inclusion and diversity, it has to be a complete mindset, so you can integrate it into every aspect of your business. Can you kind of speak to what the judge's mindset is when they go in to make the decision?
Absolutely. I think for this particular award, it's really understanding the business culture and how this benefits our businesses that apply, and why do they do it ultimately. And I think really both of the winners highlighted why it's so important, and it gets back to a workforce issue. It gets back to making sure that you have the most talented people to fill these positions. And I think one of the winners talked about diversity of thought and diversity of experience, and all of this makes for a stronger workforce, a stronger hiring pool. And so, we look to particularly the applicants that come in, practices that talk about that recruitment techniques and really trying to reach the broadest group possible. But yeah, I think ultimately it's about how these organizations are demonstrating this commitment to diversity and inclusion within our community. And both of them, both the winners this year and in the past, have been just examples to the whole community about how to do this effectively. And it's about bringing it more local and speaking to the issues that are really important to the Dayton region. And we're talking about dealing with immigration. We're talking about dealing with, women in leadership positions. We're talking about, things that other communities certainly are dealing with, but that really benefit Dayton overall. So that's a piece of what the judges look at. And then it's also about making sure that we highlight a lot of the important work that both our public and our private sector institutions are doing. And so they each have a different take on what's important and why they need to do it. But that's why we had such great winners this year.
And you had to choose two.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Dr. Barrett and Michelle, I'll ask you, just because I'm curious, do you think your organizations find that this attitude of inclusion and diversity helps with recruiting and also retaining talent?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. By offering the ability to kind of be who you are and on a daily basis, it makes our employees feel that this is an inclusive environment. No one is selected out for any particular reason. We're all about, again, diversity of thought and diversity of experience, because we want to make sure that we have that internally as well. So it has helped immensely with retention.
Dr. Barrett, have you found the same thing?
We have, and we have a special hiring program that's called Opportunity Hiring. So when you see or find a colleague who is an expert and brings some special talent to a department where they might be underrepresented, statistically from a, standpoint of people in the department already, you're able to sort of fast track vetting of that person. And we had 7 of those individuals this past year that we hired in different departments around the university. And, I met with them to see how's it going. And there were some who said they would never have come to the Midwest, for example, from the East Coast or whatever,
right,
if it hadn't been for the experience that they had related to our inclusive culture when they decided to give us a look. And so these different initiatives that we have related to diversity, related to community engagement, really can have a huge impact on attracting people who otherwise would not even consider coming to Dayton or Ohio or this part of the country. So it really does set us apart in terms of being the kind of workplace that people really are looking for these days, in terms of being able to be authentic, who they are, and work in a place that is creative, innovative, and really does value a diversity of thought.
We're proud to have places like that in the Miami Valley, for sure. Stephanie, can you talk about the application process, what these two went through, and maybe what next year's applicants, if they're watching this show today and are interested in the award, what they go through?
Absolutely. Well, these two actually are not done yet, because typically we bring back some of our past winners to help for judging in the upcoming year. And we typically release the application usually in mid-June, and so we give our businesses a couple of months to apply and fill out the application, and it's about 3 pages. I don't think it was too onerous, but it really speaks to the different elements of diversity and inclusion we're looking to assess. And then we convene a judging meeting, and we have representatives from the Chamber and NCCJ, and then some of our past award winners, and we deliberate and rank our top choices. And it's always a tough decision. We always have some really great applicants, but this year we were really pleased to be able to offer the award to these 2 winners. And I think to any businesses that might be looking to apply in 2016, it's really about highlighting what you already do. It's not necessarily about making promises that you're going to come up with all of this new programming or do anything that you're not already doing. Right. But it's stopping and taking a look at why your business organization is successful when it comes to diversity and inclusion. And this award allows us to celebrate that. So 2016, June, and then we usually try to wrap it up by the end of July. So if businesses are interested, they should look at the Dayton Chamber website
That's right, DaytonChamber.org.
That's right. And we have the award ceremony in late October, so we always have a nice opportunity for the community to come together and acknowledge these winners, along with some of the other awards that NCCJ recognizes every year. So it's a really neat opportunity.
Okay. Are there plans to continue to celebrate into the year for either of your organizations? Rolling this out to your students or customers?
Oh, definitely.
Anything you can share with us?
Oh, I'm sure our communications and marketing will take full advantage of this honor.
So it's definitely something that it's a big honor. So it's a good recognition for the organization.
We want to make sure that all of our employees in the PNC market in Dayton have access to be able to understand and see the video and see the award ceremony. So. And we're very excited about posting that out on our intraweb.
Yeah.
What was the award ceremony like? Can you say what it was like?
It was inspiring.
It really was.
To hear about all the great work being done by PNC and other award winners. It's just very motivational, inspiring. Sometimes, particularly in this work in terms of diversity, we're talking about the very positive, proactive, but there's also the part related to dealing with discrimination and that kind of thing. So it can sometimes be a very heavy burden, but celebrating the wins along the way is just a wonderful way to keep people motivated. It certainly motivated me. I was very impressed, and my husband, who has to come along with me to all these kinds of events, liked it, enjoyed it, which is saying a lot for somebody who goes to a lot of these. So
the award ceremony was great, but the part that I liked best about it was when they highlighted Anytown with the NCCJ's program. To be able to have that opportunity as a student and to understand what it's like to be different and to grow up in that environment and to be embraced by your friends and people outside of what you're normally used to, that to me just spoke volumes, because that's really where we need to start from a diversity and inclusion perspective, is to start with the young people so that they get a flavor of what that means as they grow up.
Right. So. And I think to that point, speaking to the workforce piece, it does attract that young talent. When you have a workplace that is, diverse and inclusive, you get these young people that come up, and that's the norm for them. And so, it's exciting to see that shift in how we think as a community. And, NCCJ does this award every year, this award ceremony, and they're really honoring a lot of community volunteers as well, which is really, really pretty neat. So we're thrilled to play a small part of that with our Workplace Diversity Award.
Can you speak to why it is so important to recognize the work that's being done in our community?
Sure. I mean, I think it speaks to what Dr. Barrett was saying earlier. Is sometimes you forget. We become, entrenched in our daily routines, in our in our lives, in our organizations, and stopping and taking a moment and looking at the successes and the wins over the last year, but also the challenges. And I don't think any of us shy away from some of the challenges that, we all face on a daily basis, but particularly some of the larger national challenges that we see on the news and how they are impacting us in Dayton. So it's a moment of reflection, and it's a moment to, recognize that we're all in this together and people are doing important work, and how can we help? And how can we, capitalize that and keep that momentum going? So that's I think what we take away from it every year.
And I'm sure the work doesn't stop for the two of you in your organizations.
Oh no. I think another piece of the awards program, I think, is not only does it showcase the award winners, but it shows the community at large, and it shows the other businesses in the audience that this means something to organizations like Wright State and PNC, and I think it brings other people along with it, thinking maybe we should apply for this, or maybe we should stop and be a little more intentional about diversity and inclusion rather than just saying it.
Right.
But no, the work does not stop, not at all.
Continues. Well, what would you say to organizations maybe thinking about applying for next year?
I would just say do it. It's not an onerous application, and if you feel like you're doing some good things in this area that might be examples to others, please apply.
Absolutely.
I have to go with Kimberly here and just absolutely go ahead and do it. It's not onerous at all. In fact, it's fairly easy. But it's well worth the effort. Well worth the effort.
Okay. And again, June
June.
Keep an eye out for June.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
And DaytonChamber.org is the place to go. And if you want to read more about these two 2015 winners, Wright State University and PNC Bank, you can see that in the November issue of Focus, which is the quarterly magazine the Dayton Area Chamber of Commerce puts out. And if you don't have a hard copy of Focus, don't worry, you can see the digital version also at DaytonChamber.org. That's always available for you anytime you want to see it. And there's more information on the award at DaytonChamber.org. Thanks so much for being with us. Have a good day.
Today's program highlights the work being done by the National Conference for Community and Justice of Greater Dayton. Our chamber partnered with NCCJ a number of years ago to create special recognition of area businesses who are modeling the way for others in creating a corporate atmosphere and culture of inclusion and diversity. Diversity can be defined a number of ways, but one thing we know for certain, that as the United States grows, our nation becomes more diverse. Many of our businesses are national or even global, but most, if not all, are at least regional. Our region continues to change through our growing minority population, as well as with women and disabled-owned businesses. We must not only recognize these changing trends, but also embrace them. This year's 2015 Greater Dayton Workplace Diversity Award recognizes two outstanding area organizations, Wright State University and PNC Financial Services Group. Both are successful in creating a positive, energized culture and for being a model for others to follow. Our chamber congratulates Wright State and PNC and their leaders and their employees for recognizing how important it is for their future success to understand the strengths of a diverse workforce as well as a changing customer base that mirrors the region and our nation.